Hello again. Now it's time to publish your work. When and what do I publish? Do I just publish وخلاص? No. You publish only when you have a story to tell and when there is audience for this story. So how can you tell your story? You can either put in a full article, and this is an article that needs data, details, development of work results. That's a full article. You can have a letter or a short communication, and this is intended for small pieces of work or original advances without including too much detail. Sometimes we do review paper to summarize development in specific scientific areas. Not my own work, but I just want to summarize what other people have done in this area. It's always very useful for readers, by the way, and it takes a good citation when you do a review article. And research elements, and this is when we put in additional subsets of the paper that are published alone, and we will be speaking about this in a very, very short while. So what do I write in the title? The title has to be it has to identify the main topic. It has to be accurate, and it has to be as short as possible, enticing and interesting. That's what a title is. Who are the authors? These are the people who did the maximum scientific, any scientific or intellectual contribution to the research, including those who take responsibility for data and conclusion. So any one of these people are a part of the authorship. But how do we arrange them on the paper? Well, there are different ways to do that. But in our understanding, the first author is the one who does the practical part of the paper. The second author is the most who has contributed to this paper in addition to the first author. The last author is usually the oldest or the supervisor who supervises the work and maybe revises the whole thing at the end. The corresponding author is the person who will communicate with the journal. For us, we always make the corresponding author the youngest, because it's a lot of work to adapt the paper for publication, and we want our young junior researchers to be able to take that role. It's good learning for them, and it's also a lot of work for us. So how do we do keywords? Keywords, imagine كده that your work needs to be searched. What are the words that people will put in the search bar in order to look for your work? These become your keywords. Try to make them as clear as possible and searchable. The abstract, it's a good summary of your work. Take care that there are no figures or tables here, so just be sure to make everything as clear as possible. It's a good summary, and this is what people read. So people, when they read the abstract, they need to want to read the full paper. So make sure that it's interesting for them. But if not anything, it has to be as clear as possible. Sometimes we are asked to do what we call a graphical abstract, and the graphical abstract is like a summary, a visual summary of your work. It's a good thinking process. You can think of that and you can create it, but there are tools, and this is one of them that is on Elsevier, that helps you generate illustrations for your illustrated summaries for your work. Please take this link, take a look at it, and it's always useful to utilize it. In the introduction, as we said in the previous video, that's the context, that's the background, that's basically why we did this work, what led to the research question, and at the end, of course, you have to put the aim of your work or the objective. Methodologies, be as detailed as you can in methodology, because people really want to know how to replicate this work, and it's important to give them the tools to do that. On Elsevier, there are two links. One of them is called STAR Protocol, and the other is called STAR Methods. If you pause this video and take these links, they will be very helpful, because you will find work that is similar to yours, and these are called STAR Protocols, the best written protocols on Elsevier. So do use them. In conclusion and discussion, how do we write that? Well, your conclusion needs to be, your results have to be supported by the conclusion. The conclusion is supported by the results. Don't write anything in the conclusion that was not in the results. Be very specific and scientific. You only discuss what you have defined earlier in the paper. Don't put anything new. If you find yourself introducing new terminology, this means that this is a section that needs to go in the introduction. Take care, all your interpretations and speculations have to be based on fact, not on imagination. Otherwise, the reviewers will return it for you. What about the research data? Do we keep it in the drawer? What do we do? Most open access journals, they ask you to submit the raw data, the processed data, software, algorithms, protocols as additional repositories. I'll tell you now where they go. You can get credit for them if you make them findable and accessible and interoperable and reusable. This makes them fair, and this makes them, you get credit for them because they are citable as well. So you might want to make sure that you have a good repository that has all your data. Citing data, it's important to code in your article how you're citing everything and where you're getting everything. Sometimes you want to publish a research element, like publish a brief peer-reviewed article and cite it. Link your article to the data repository where you have uploaded your data. Upload your data on a repository, like for example, like on Mendeley data, and we will speak about this. It gets a DOI, a definitive object identifier. And this means that it counts for you as a research, and it counts for you as a citation as well when you are finding your own metrics as an author. What are preprint services? Sometimes we want to publish our work in advance for people to give us feedback. We do this in what we call preprint or Research Square or other areas that actually publish preprints. These are not peer-reviewed. You just publish them, and then people start coming in and asking questions and doing corrections. And it also takes a DOI. So make sure that if you have a preprint, to mention that preprint in your paper when it is published and to cite it. What about illustrations? Take care. There are many illustration services on Elsevier that help you generate your own illustrations if they are not taken from somewhere. And if they are taken from somewhere, you need to be able to cite them properly. We all know that, correct? But now, how do we make sure that my paper, the paper that I've worked on, is searchable? How do I make it search engine optimized? How? Well, make sure your keywords are very important and that they are mentioned in the title and the abstract. Add captions to the photographs, images, and graphs. Don't just put photographs without captions. Add titles or subheadings, keywords, to the different sections of your article. This makes it easy to be searchable. Make sure to place links of your article from relevant website, like for example, a relevant website, like make a Wikipedia page and put the link of your article. Make a blog, make LinkedIn pages or articles. So where do I publish my work? It's time to take a look and take a look what journal will publish my work. Take a look at the journal aim and the journal scope and make sure your work goes within that aim scope. Make sure that journal has published similar work to the work you're publishing. Take a look at the journal rankings and measure the journal impact and demonstration of good publishing practices. This is like, for example, your colleagues have published there before and they know that this journal is a good journal. It's not a predatory journal. So how do I locate journals? Take a snapshot of this page. All these places are places that we can take a look at journals and understand more about the sightings and the metrics of journals. To know more about them, we also have insights. We have country rank, we have Scopus, Web of Science, Eigenfactor. All of these are links to pages that talk more about journals and tell me more. I want to understand general information about journals. Well, there are these websites where I can go in and understand where this journal came from, what's the ISSN number, what's the publisher, all that stuff. These 3 links will help you understand more about the journal. What about open access journals, and why do I publish in open access journals? Well, take a look at open access journals in directory of open access journal and Inago Open Access Journal Finders. These have a good list of all the good open access journals there are out there. Why do I publish open access? Well, I want people to read my work. I want them to cite my work. Otherwise, it's useless work. So make sure it's open for the world. Give permission for people to use the work and to cite it. But take care. You have to take the following steps. You have to make sure it's on DOAJ, Directory of Open Access Journal, on Medline. Search for the publisher on Google. Look for the location of the publisher to see if they appear on the map or not. Look for spelling errors in the journal website, because if there are, that's a predatory journal. And check the editorial board, see names of people that you know. This tells you that this is a good journal. So there are two types of open access. It's either golden open access or green open access. The difference between both, the most important difference, is that green open access is usually not payable. There are no fees. Golden open access, there is a paid fee for that. So how do we navigate the publishing process? First, how do I start to publish? Sit with your fellows, your team, and ask them, where do we want to publish? Where do we put our names? That's the difficult question. And check the status of the paper after you have submitted every now and then. Take care, there is what we call a publishing agreement. After you get your acceptance, they will send you a publishing agreement. This publishing agreement tells you what your rights are and what your limits are for using, and what kind of authorization you have given to the publisher. It's also very important to understand how people will use my work. And this is the licensing process. You understand how you use the work in the, how you can use the work after you've published it, what you have given the publisher, and how user licenses can affect the way people use your work. Can they cite it? Can they just take it and not cite it? How can they use it? What is the review process? How is my work reviewed? Well, there are a number of ways. It's either single-blinded review. This means that only you do not know the reviewer, but the reviewer knows your name very well. Double-blinded review, you don't know the reviewer doesn't know you. Triple-blinded review, even the editor doesn't know you, so no one knows each other at all. And then there's open review, which is very popular these days. Everyone knows everyone, and the paper is online. People do the review online. You know the reviewer, you might be able to respond to the reviewer, and there is like a discussion going forward until they reach a good status where the journal, the paper itself, is now ready for publication. And when it's ready for publication, it becomes indexed. A number of sites do that, like for example, MedEdPublish. It does this open review process, and it's very useful and it's very educational, by the way. Congratulations, now your paper is accepted. Now you hear a number of terms, like you hear article impressed. This means that you cannot do any more corrections on the article. Proofing is the time when you can do final amendments on the paper, but take care. They are very minor amendments. You cannot change anything in the methodology. You cannot add or remove a reviewer unless you have to, an author, unless you justify this very well. What about sharing links? They give you a share link that is open with you, sometimes for 2 weeks and sometimes up to 2 months. This share link is what you can use to share with your open community, even people who are not registered for the journal. Off print, these are articles that do not go in print format. So these are a number of elements. How do I get my work noticed after it's published? Because I want it to be cited. Share your link with colleagues, with your family. You have like almost 50 days or 2 months to 50 days, 50 days, 2 months. An open link, share this open link with everyone, put it everywhere, have people go into this link, take a look at it, open discussions, go to conferences, speak about your work, do whatever you can, update your profile and put the link for your article there, present at the conference, write a lay summary for people to understand what this work is about, and put it on social media. Social media is really powerful these days. Don't stop working without tracking your impact. Try to understand how much have I done? How much have I been cited? How much are people reading my work? And this is very important for you as a researcher to be able to track your impact, track your Scopus, your H index, track your citation index. That's very important. I have finished. I hope this was useful to you. I can be able to maybe speak in depth about specific areas later on in future videos. But for now, I think I have given you a very quick overview on how to publish and how to improve your publishing process. Thank you so much and see you soon.